Hello. Get some drink. Ah, nothing like bitter lemonade on a winter night. Especially when you think about, is your lover a player? A player. Are you involved with a player? Do you think everything is groovy? Fine, groovy was a stupid word. But a player. Do you think your lover is true to you? A player. A player. Does that kind of ring? Like, first it comes like a breeze. Is he a player? Is she a player? Nah. It's a player. A player. Is your lover a player? Come on. Somebody just puts that thought in your mind, and you go, "Is your lover a player?" Player. I don't even want to think about it. A lot of people go, "Nah, can't be, can't be, can't be." My lover's not a player. What are the signs of your lover being a player? Well, the obvious one is not being available on the weekend, right? Or Friday night, Saturday night. Like if you're here listening to me and you're in a relationship, I know it's early, so it's still dinner time, but maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend is not seeing you tonight in some kind of excuse that sounds kind of, it has Swiss cheese in it, holds. Like maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend is a player. And, a player isn't just a guy. A player goes both ways. There's people that want to be with somebody, and all of a sudden they said they want to be not with you, but they're like, don't cut you loose, and you don't cut them loose. So you could be the player. You could be such a good player and think that your lover doesn't really know that you're like fooling them. How to recognize this? How to recognize it? You get the feeling you feel it in your bowels, your guts. This relationship isn't going someplace. But sometimes you just don't want to deal with the truth, or you don't want to deal with reality. Like, or you feel like, hey, I can get much more, but this is okay right now. But and then you think like, gee, this is fun. Why should I just limit myself to one person? It happens. It's normal. It happens. Hey, how are you? Hi, Wanda. Are you a player or you're involved with a player? Sometimes, too, you could be played and then you could play, too. It gets like a vicious cycle. And then you hear those damn songs. They all whine about being players, really. Doing it or doing it. It's some kind of shit, right? Playing, playing, playing. And then, but the whole thing is like when it feels bad when you've been played and you didn't recognize that you were played. Or sometimes you're just like so busy and you're feeling so good you don't even recognize your own behavior. It's true. It's true. It happens. Hi, dear. Yeah. So it's like the whole thing is how to recognize that your lover or you are the player. And the relationship, you better get out of it because it's not going to be good for you for long term. Then again, a player doesn't care about time. They just want to like a real player. You could be like an amateur player, but a real player doesn't care about a lot of things. It just cares about getting over. Getting over, right? Getting over. And how do you feel about somebody, shortchanging you or just feeling you don't matter? That's the weird thing. It's like, how do you deal with your ego? Well, gee, he's two-timing me. Oh, with da 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 da. And then the woman, of course, when he's two-timing, knows perfectly well that he's in a relationship with you. But she's fine with it because she's two-timing him with somebody else. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So, and the same thing about a woman. Well, okay, so he's not like the one I really want to be with, but he's okay. He's okay. He's a good filler. Like, how do you feel when you realize that maybe all your relationships have been with players, or you yourself are one big player? As I said, it's two folds. It's two folds. It's two avenues. So how do you feel? How do you feel about that kind of thing? Or has it happened to you or not? Or maybe you're just, you're in a sincere relationship and you really feel it's sincere. And then you find a little note in his pocket, in his shirt pocket or something that kind of looks, or something, or just somebody's giggling a phone call and it's a little giggly. You go, gee, why are you giggling? What, want to share? And he's, oh, no. You would, you have to be there. So all these there's little hints that that sometimes a sincere person doesn't want to deal with, because that would, like, some people just don't like to deal with things, and yeah, it's painful and it hurts, but it's better to like have a heads up, thumbs up about like what's happening, and then you can spare yourself a lot of pain, because pain gained makes you a very sorry, scorned person, and that's not very healthy. It's not healthy at all, and you're not helping yourself. And I think that all these like movies and songs that glorify players, really. I mean, do they really glorify a sincere relationship? Nah. It's like naughty love is the best love, or just being a scamp. A scamp. That's the best. That's the best. And it's like, I'll wait for you to grow up. I'll wait for you to grow up. No, a player never grows up. A player. Sometimes they have habits too. I mean, they have to play something. Even if they're just playing, like, what do you call this thing? Video games. They play video games all the time when they're just homing their skill. I mean, they just can't wait. They see these characters that are so suave and the opposite of them, and are always like full of BS, and they just feel like, hey, I gotta do it. I have to do that. So being a player, being involved in a player, is not. It's a sad life. It's a sad life. So I'm giving readings here in case anybody is in that predicament and they want to know. They want to know that if this is your boyfriend is a player. Is your boyfriend a player? Is your girlfriend? Wanda, do you think your boyfriend is a player? Or do you know how to recognize a player? There are certain signs, a certain way of looking at you and behind you and around you, or every time you're walking someplace, he's looking at every other woman. Or because a man is always more desirable, so they say, when he is accompanied by a woman. I mean, that's a school of thought. Just like a woman is more noticeable when she has a man around her. I guess there's certain people that enjoy just seeing others together, just so they can see, hey, you two are too happy together. I can get in there. I can get in there. Salty spiders, true, but they don't. It's not about really love. It's about the attraction, and it's about the steps. It's about the steps. It's about like making the other person smile, laugh, and ultimately having sex with them, and just stringing them along. Like, we could be so. This could be us. And of course, they have no intention of ever being long term. Never. But they lead you on. Some people are really good at being a player. I mean, they just, maybe they were raised in that environment, so they have like real skill sets in being a player. And of course, the people, like a lot of people, they haven't never had real friendship, so they just like watch those movies. Yeah, it's like, I conquered you. Yeah, well, what do they say? Yeah, oh, they say, another notch in my belt, right? another notch in my belt. I mean, they just like people to like, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Well, I'm off, baby. Or like, well, hey, you know, or somebody says, yeah, we're so good together. Let's live together. And then the two move in together, and that's when the real hell begins. The real hell. It also could be you can even marry somebody who's a player, and they can like, well, gee, they don't feel married. Some people get married, but they don't feel married. They can go through everything, but they don't feel it. See, it's a game. It's a game. It's a game. But I mean, sometimes, but sometimes it's hard for like, sometimes if like two people, even two people from the same culture, or even from different cultures, like two people are never the same. Are never the same. I mean, you can talk and share your past, how you grew up, but it's never the same. And maybe you can have more something that you find necessary to have a relationship, and they have a little bit of that, and vice versa. So I mean, it's the coming apart, but those type of relationships, like hopefully the person would straight up say, I would just say, we have to talk. That's all. Just say we have to talk. But a player won't say that. We have to talk. Just say like, I'm going out. Or just go out. I mean, just go out. Like you're waiting for that call and that call never comes. Or I'll call you, babe. I'll call you. I'll call you, sweetheart. Okay. Bye, love. I'll see you soon. And that soon is like, I'll see you later, like much later. Yeah, it's a game. See, I think in a game culture, like this culture here in the United States, the West, is typically a game culture. They don't really applaud people that are honest, people that are sincere. They like gamers. They like, plenty of cash, plenty of dough. They like gamblers. They like hustlers. They like people that BS. They like the BS as opposed to the truth. The truth. The truth. What is the truth? I mean, if you don't have any concept of truth, how can you be truthful, right? How can you be truthful? But people say, "Oh, it's just a stage. It's just a stage." No, it's practice. Practice makes perfect. That's just practicing with you. And the thing when you do with the player is you cut them. You cut them. You cut them. You cut them. I don't mean with a razor or anything like that. No, you cut their ego down. You cut their ego down. Sometimes you have to. First of all, they feel so totally confident of you, male or female. They feel confident of you because you're something that can be played with. So you have to show them that, hey, not so. I'm not standing for this. You go on. It's a horrible experience in the way the tighter you are together, but even a player is a child. I mean, it's a child at heart. Like they wouldn't be playing games if they were like an adult. And you have to remember that they got like shortchanged in the process of maturing. Of course, they never mentally mature, but you're still involved with a player, and that's the sick part about it. You can be in love with the player. That's bad. So, I mean, Salty Spider, have you ever been in love with a player? Are you in love with a player, or are you playing somebody else? And how to get out of it? How to change that behavior? I mean, we have a game culture. We definitely have a game, not a real life, true grit, love culture. No way. I mean, to take head on struggles, like there's 9 of Wands here, you have to play a game because a game will get you faster out of this sticky situation than good old practical application. That's the way that the movies are, the songs are, everything is leading you to believe, especially if you're young and naive, not even young and gullible, if you're naive. A lot of people are so effing naive. They are naive. They don't think that so and so is really thinking this way. And so is thinking that way. I mean, I guess that's where you get like, you know, Like, how many people become sex workers, for instance, right? A sex worker. Like, obviously, they were naive when they started out. I'm not saying all, of course, but some. Some. Not that I know any sex workers. I'm just assuming. And maybe it's a bad assumption, but think of it this way. Like, you got your heart broken, but you still want to believe. And you're still naive to believe that let's say people are honest. Real people are honest, but how many real people are you meeting with the way that you are doing certain things? Certain occupations, certain lifestyles, certain naivety breeds gamers, breeds you to be a victim of the game. And that's just what it is. Exactly. If you, in other words, you can say, like, if somebody doesn't value you, they're gaming you. And that's true. And then that's a whole other thing. That goes back to, like, maybe you didn't feel your parents valued you. So, of course, you're going to seek love life of people that don't really value you. And then again, if your true spirit comes out, which it will eventually, you'll go like, hey, I deserve better than that. I deserve more. I want more. I'm not taking this BS. If I wasn't valued when I was little, or I wasn't valued when I was a teenager, I'm certainly going to be valued now that I'm a grown ass person. I'm not going to take it. That's the attitude you got to have with a player. Just can't take it. It's like, go away, go away. But a lot of people still refuse to get up on their get their engines revved up and make the move. They prefer to stay in a abusive scene of which they're with a player, because a player is exciting. A player is somebody that you're not alone with. You're not alone. And sometimes people being alone is the biggest, scariest thing ever. It's like the big bad wolf with the Little Red Riding Hood. And you know, you got to start afresh. You got to start with an idea. There's a difference between lonely and alone. And alone is a healthy state of mind. Lonely is almost like depression. And that's why people stay with players. And that's a player's picnic. A player's picnic. She'll be lonely if I didn't play games with her. She should be lonely without me. What are you gonna do without me, babe? What are you gonna do without me? Plenty, a-hole. Plenty, plenty. That's what you should be saying to that person. But you go, oh, I'll just wait for you. There's lots of women that do that. There's lots of guys that do that because they just don't know how to get out of that circle. And that is a sorry reality of being with a player. You become like some kind of like stew, soft, doughy thing with no backbone, basically. You may think you do, but you kind of like fell into a trap, a player's trap. A player's trap. And that's not healthy. That is not healthy. But how do you get out of it? Well, getting out of it is getting out of a player's trap. Getting out of a player's trap isn't easy, because if you got into like any trap, if you get into, it's not easy to get out of, right? Because they wouldn't call it a trap if you could, like, it's not a slip, it's a trap. And getting out of it, first of all, you got to improve the upstairs, between your ears. You got to remember that what you deserve. You got to bring out your spirit. You got to bring help with the spirits too, because the spirits all around you and everybody. Your real life, the real you, does not deserve being with someone who's contemptuous enough to be playing games with you. The real you doesn't need it. You need to have a sense of joy and happiness and openness. And you're not going to get that with a player. Never, 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 because you're never going to feel secure enough to feel happiness. You're not going to get your 10 of cups moment. It just doesn't happen. Looking for, yeah, you got to get, when you meet somebody, especially now with like all this crazy, crazy stuff happening. Okay, see you later, salty spider. It's good. Good, 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 good. Adios. Yeah, you just gotta like have a good attitude about yourself, and you have to self-reflect, self-reflect. And of course, who has time for all that? You go like, what is self-respect? What is self-respect? I have to have fun. It's Friday night. It's Saturday night. I'm here by myself. I want to dance. I want to like laugh. I want to eat something nice. Well, true. It's like people say you only live once. True, but you can. Certain things you don't want to live. Certain things you want to live more than once. It's like that was like stinky, or that was like, gee, that was like I could have did without that. You want to avoid those scenarios. You want to avoid those scenarios. But, and that's the whole thing, is to recognize that you're with a player and to realize this, you're being played. You're being played. And it could happen to like a man. It could happen, a woman could be playing a guy. And of course, a guy could play a woman. It just depends who's the neediest one. Who is needy? Who is needy? And when I think about, like right now, there's this like player running around where that I know, and the guy has like been playing. This guy has been playing for like decades. I mean, at least like 2 or 3 decades. I mean, this guy started when he was really young, and he thought like he's tall, he's blonde, he's muscular, he's got this, he's got that, he's got some do re mi. And like, why should he settle? It's like, oh, he just could, and you got to think that stuff really, yeah, you had all the looks and the markings of like a champion, nice person. However, he trashed himself up. And now he's going around like a shadow of his former self. He is so pathetic. It's sad. I mean, he still has his height, minus plus a few pounds now. But he's still thinking of his glory days when he was a super player. I mean, it is a lifestyle with some people, being a player. And you only have to imagine that somewhere when that person was a kid, like a toddler or something like that, he or she must have had an experience. Like I'm talking about a particular guy, right? Person right now. He must have had an experience being used or trafficked, or something to make you feel that you can never find satisfaction, you can never find happiness in the arms of one person, as you just play against play. I mean, please, counting is for inventory, merchandise, not for the heart. Not for the heart. Not for the heart. So, anyway, players are made, they're not born. And, well, it's the way of life. So, anyone who would like to have a reading about a player, feel free to leave a message. And we'll see about. We'll see, because it's an unfair situation and it's like an unbalanced one, and it can't continue. It just can't continue. I mean, the way things are right now, we can't spend time with like, egomaniacs, players. We can't. We gotta be with real people, and it's time to get real. It's time to get real. I mean, yeah, you can be with somebody you feel you can't be without, but if that person is not, making you feel good, you can examine why. Maybe he or she is too busy making everybody else feel good too. And bragging and talking and bragging and talking. People do that. And the quickest way to make a player grow up is not to play with them and to go on with your life. And then when they see your happiness, they can I'm sure it could add 1 + 1 equal, like, a solution. not 1 plus 1 plus 1, but 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. I mean, that's just like, you know, crap. Unfortunately, a lot of people though people do marry players, and then they pass that playing germ onto their offspring. Even just talking about it, little kids notice like lots of stuff. You can be driving in your car and you can see your daddy, still being a player, looking at every woman in sight that crosses the street. So I mean, when you're driving in the car, and that's something that feels, and then you can see your mother's reaction to it, and that is, that's something that people do marry players, do get married, they do get married. Then they have families too, but they still play, they still play, they still play. So no matter if you're in a relationship, dating, long term, short term, permanent marriage, players come in all sizes, all states of matrimony, all states of attachment. Players. Well, I'm going to leave this reading up for like a short while, and if anyone who would like one about the player in your life, just doing players. Like if you think your lover is a player, you think you're being involved with a player. You think you know somebody else who is involved with a player. How? How to get that? How to get that resolved? Calling spirits, people who have been played, think that they're involved with a player. You can also email me too with your question. You can have a private one-on-one. Private one-on-ones are good too. Main thing is like we stop. We have to get the best behavior, the best relationships, the best everything. Especially in these times. If you would like a reading, I'm here. If you have a matter about being involved with a player, or as a player, or you find yourself being played, are you being played? If you'd like to, you can also email me the question. Are you involved with a player? Are you being played? How does it feel? Do you want to change? Do you want to recognize? Do you need some help? Do you want to have a reading about this? Everybody, at some point in their life finds themselves involved with somebody who tries to play them. Just the way things are. No matter how sincere you are, there's someone who thinks that they're just a little. It's a game. It's a game. The more sincere you are, the more valuable player played for a player to play you. They just enjoy that. I don't understand it myself, but I mean, on a to do. It's not on my to do list, but I've seen people that play other people and experienced it myself. So I mean, I know what being played is, and it's just the hypocrisy or the greed of it, or something, the immaturity. It's a lot of things, and the thing is just to recognize, just hey, I'm being played, and what am I going to do about it? I mean, I'm gonna cut this person off? I could be by myself, or can I be by myself? It's up to you to think of having a part-time boyfriend or a semi-boyfriend or somebody who's like calling you up. You're flattered. I mean, if the person is good-looking, smart, and they still play you. I mean, and they seem to have an empathy, but they don't have that much deep because a player doesn't really has a surface empathy. A surface caring. Doesn't have a really true deep caring because they can't stay because they can't stay too long because they get like antsy because you might find out that they really have not what they profess to have inside of them. They aren't all that, and they're afraid of being discovered, which is why you play. Yeah. People play because they're afraid of discovery. A real honest relationship, you just go head to head, head to head, toe to toe. But a player, no, they like to play like they like to play. It's different. It's very different. And you can have all sorts of excuses too. He or she, I'm young, I'm this, I'm that, I'm just don't know what I want. All these things. So it has no real, it doesn't really have a particular sign that I'm a player. Nobody walks around, I'm a player, because nobody would want to deal with them. So some of them are very carefully crafted. Like some of them take occupations like being a yoga teacher, for instance, or an exercise teacher. I mean, you wear like scanty clothes, you get to see a lot of people in different positions. I mean, then you can take advantage of them, or a health practitioner. It's the same thing. You have people that come to you and they're in need, and you can be involved with a player. It could be any type of, it could be a chiropractor, it could be a dentist, it could be anyone. Legal players. I mean, you can have any occupation and be a player. You can be a bum and be a player. You could be an escort. There is no, occupation tied to being a player. A player is an emotional state of immaturity, I guess. That's what you call it, right? An emotional arrested development. They just aren't developed. And that's the thing they try to hide. They can hide it in their career expertise. They can hide it in their, uh, uh, obviously, with their gaze. It's many, many ways. And you can say, well, I finally got the doctor in my life. Maybe that doctor is not the doctor you think that you need, right? He's not the doctor you want in your life. So you can brag to all your friends, my boyfriend's a doctor. Yeah, and that's nice. And wow, you really got to catch that time. But then the guy's a player. He's a player. He knows that he's in a preferred occupation, even though some would disagree. But or a woman, she's a fabulous model, and this guy's bragging about my girlfriend's a model, but she herself, she's like, she's got to be here, she's got to be there, and she doesn't want to be tied down, and she also like, I can do better than you, but I'll take you in the meantime. Stuff like that. It happens all the time. I can do better. I can do better. Maybe that's in a society where people are valued as commodities, as things, not as special, precious beings. And this society does not value people as precious beings. The more you funk up, the more you're applauded in so many ways. All our songs, our movies, the same tired themes, they're always put forth. It's not for a society that wants to grow. Therefore, you have a lot of players. They don't know what they want. And you can just get caught up in their trap, in their cobweb. And in your naivety, you could be like a light bulb outside, brings in moths. If you're so naive to think certain things. Just bring one player after another player after another player. And that's where you change. And that's not good for you. That's where it's not good for you. You got to say, stop, stop, stop. And of course, sometimes you can be ashamed of being involved with a player. You don't really talk to people. You can be involved with people that are involved with players themselves. This person is an upcoming artist, and you feel really like, my boyfriend or somebody else's boyfriend. It's like, wow, I'm really traveling with some cool people. But are they really cool? And is it the best thing for you? Just because there's no pinpointing the exact thing. It's just like somebody's making you feel good or somebody's not making you feel good. That's just the way it is. So anyway, if you would like a reading, I'm here. If not, well, enjoy the candles. If anyone would like a reading, I'm here and running around. But, I'm available. If you're involved with a player and you want to recognize it, You want to stop it? And let's get a reading on this.